Hello, and it's time for another video regarding this Riot shield. Now I wanted to do a video sort of how easily could you use various melee weapons with the Riot shield. Now obviously policemen famously use a baton or a truncheon with Riot shields, but how easily could you use other equipment with it? Now, as I've covered before, Riot shields are very mobile, especially if you're using them with two hands. Again, this is quite bulky, but it, stands to be seen that you can obviously move this around while holding it very easily. Again, it's bulky, it's kind of cumbersome, but it doesn't weigh too much, which is the important thing. Like I said, especially if you're outside of this, you're not going to be banging it into things constantly. I mean, not things that you don't want to hit. Obviously, if you're hitting a rioter with it, if you're a riot cop, I guess that's kind of the function of the thing. But anyway, helmet down. Let's have a look at some melee weapons with it. So, one of the things a lot of people have suggested with Riot shields that I think would be very good, and there's not a head on this, but if you were using it as a spear, with a spear. So anyway, let me try and grab this properly. So, in case I was using this as a spear, I'll grab it a bit closer to the front. But yeah, you could obviously use something like this around a shield fairly easily, as was done, in historical periods. Again, I'm not an expert at using a spear. I know spears are the easiest of the sort of melee weapons to wield. But with one hand, you could definitely use this there. So yeah, as I said, I'm failing horribly at that. But if I had got a spear end on there, yes, you could use a spear around a shield fairly competently, I'd say. Okay. Now, this is one I'm sure a lot of you will be interested in. How well can you use a mace with a Riot shield, eh? Well, as I've said before with this mace, it is kind of weirdly front heavy. I mean, yeah, it's a mace, it should be front heavy. If you're wanting to use it one-handed, I would not recommend this mace. I'd recommend the lighter maces, the smaller heads. This one's quite a big head. But yeah, you could, bring it down over the shield. Again, just the strength of, bringing that down onto something, yeah, I can feel that through the helmet without any speed on it. Well, yeah. Bring that down on somebody's or a zombie's head or whoever's attacking you with that in the post-apocalyptic kind of thing, yes, that would definitely work. But as said, I'd go for the maces that weigh half as much as this with the smaller heads, just because I think they'd simply do a much better job for, one-handed wielding. This is, as I said before, kind of a two-handed mace. But yeah, you can use it in conjunction with the shield. I can't put much effort into that swing because, I'm simply not strong enough to swing sort of a front heavy thing with great dexterity and control. But yes, you can, with one hand, bring it down fast enough to cause serious damage to somebody without a helmet on. But again, this wouldn't be too practical for me anyway. Now, this is one of the things I think would work exceptionally well. This is a cold steel gladius, but pretty much any short sword. You can stab around the shield, you can bring it down with the shield. Seems to work quite well for that. Now, this is the one that I think will really interest people. What about a medieval sword with a Riot shield? Again, I can't really swing it properly because I'm indoors, but I think a sword combined with a shield always works very well. As you can see, you've got a lot of reach with this sword. You can bring it down well, and you can thrust it however you want to do it around the shield. And that should work very, very well. But what if you just wanted to use it the conventional way? Yes, with a light baton type thing, you can use that very easily with a Riot shield. Obviously, yeah, the problem is the shield's very big and bulky, and wielding very big and bulky one-handed weapons, that are better with two hands, doesn't go well with a Riot shield, I'd say. But lightweight weapons, you know, batons, obviously that's why Riot cops use them with batons, but short swords, I'd say obviously things that you can thrust and slash with, not just slash with. So I'd say, you know, overall, although yes, you could use a conventional machete with it, something like the cold steel gladius with a point is much better because you can thrust around the shield rather than just bringing it down or in wide slashes. But yeah, the shield itself, obviously, as I said, isn't too heavy or unwieldy. It's bulky, which is the problem with it. Obviously, indoors you're going to bang it into things. Obviously, what you could also do in some sort of scenario where you needed it, I'm just catching everything of this now, is have the shield kind of lower to protect your body, braced against you, and then use your arms as usual. Obviously, that's not going to give you much upper body protection. But you know, there are various ways of deploying these shields. So there you go. You can do obviously all this stuff with the shields. As you see, I've got the public order gloves on, which are what these are designed to work with. Absorb some of the shock that comes through the shield into your arms. But yeah, overall, as I've said before, these shields are very, very good. And as I've said before, if I see a UK seller with one of them for cheap, I'll definitely get one of the UK style round shields, because I think the lighter round shields would be a lot more practical for actual kind of combat sparring sort of use. These shields, as I said, are very good for making a block of guys with other shields, and yes, you can use them by yourself, having one of these shields and some sort of weapon with them, but I think personally the smaller rounder shields, because they're more mobile and fast to move around, less bulky, yeah, they give you less physical area of protection. I think overall a smaller round shield combined with, you know, a good melee weapon that can be wielded easily with one hand, maybe like my falchion or the cold steel gladius, would be the most preferable thing. But yeah, there you go. You can use Riot shields, you know, in one hand with various sorts of weapons in the other hand.